Yes, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I am joined today by a beardless Stelios from Tottenham Away TV. Stel, who you on the run from? How you doing? Are you glad to be back in the UK?
Yeah, I decided to shave it. I was abroad in Texas. I actually watched the game. And then as soon as the final whistle went, my flight took off 2 hours later. So I had to rush to the airport, get on a plane. And then I'm a little bit jet lagged, but I'll be all right. I'll be all right. Yeah, I'm good, man. I had a great time. Loved it. To be honest, I didn't want to come back, but that's always the way when you go abroad. So.
Oh, mate, yeah. Every time I go abroad, I think of reasons that I might need to stay there. All flights cancelled for a week or something. But look, I'm gonna let a few more viewers build up, and then, as I said to you backstage, I haven't told you what any of these facts are. I want to bamboozle the shit out of people with some stats about just how bad everything is at Tottenham Hotspur. Still, something I've been getting frustrated about, as you know, we talk off air as well. It bamboozles me that YouTubers and pundits and football commentators, they just sit there and say all this lovely stuff about Spurs. None of it seems to actually ever be true. Why are so many people just showering this club with compliments when all the evidence I'm about to give tells a completely different story? What is going on?
Yeah, big up everyone in the chat, by the way. Hope you're doing well. I think for me, it's as simple as what I've been saying for many, many months now. And I say it on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. We're just a very, very delusional fan base. I genuinely think it's just deluded. Journalists, YouTubers, podcasters, everyone's in on this. It's almost as if we ignore the obvious. We ignore that defensively we are so naive. We're so wide open as soon as a team puts pressure on us. And I know the first half against Leicester, we looked like we should have been 3-4-0 up. I don't disagree with that. But as soon as Leicester decided to actually give it a go, there's gaps everywhere. We can't defend set pieces. A ball into the box, we look disorganised. It looks chaotic. And no one wants to say this is a problem. This is a big, big problem. This is what was a problem last season. It hasn't been rectified. And we were saying this during pre-season as well. When everyone was saying, oh, but we beat that team, but we beat this team. We said, yeah, but look at some of the things that are going on. What's going to happen when we play Premier League games? So I feel a lot of fans are just delusional about the obvious, about our tactics and the way we're incapable of defending when the pressure's on. I think fans are deluded about the quality of what we've signed. We haven't signed good quality. Everyone just got excited for the sake of it. I feel that nobody mentioned Archie Gray's name pre-season. Nobody mentioned Solanke. I really want Solanke. No one mentioned Yang. No one mentioned... Odegaard. It's wild how people online at the moment are saying the sooner we get Odegaard into the first team so he can bring us some pizzazz on the wings. What, we're now depending on Odegaard to rescue what's going on. Savva, I think Spurs fans, Spurs commentators, not all, but in general, are so deluded, so far from the truth. It's almost they're petrified to properly talk about it, and really say nothing's going to change until this changes, because the reality is nothing has changed at Spurs. No. We've got rid of a lot of deadwood, but we've brought in a lot more. So that's how I feel about it. But we'll get called every name.
Just while it's coming up on my screen, not this from Scott, big up Scott. They're actually on Sky Sports right now. This is live, talking about the total number of years remaining players have at each club for contracts. Chelsea are first. Their players have 191 years of contract between them. That's mental. Spurs are second with 97. So Spurs have laid out some, listen, nowhere near the level of Chelsea, but Spurs have laid out some big old contracts for a lot of these players, and I'm wondering why. Look, everyone in the chat, would you like me to get to the crux of what I wanted to talk about today? And then, Stel, I'd ask you to bear with me through this, and then we can pick it all apart if you like. So, everybody knows, look, being a Spurs YouTuber, I believe you can go one of two ways. I believe you can go down the delusional route, just say massive buzzwords like genius Ange and why Solanke is perfect for genius system. You can do all that, sure, and you get loads of subscribers. I will never sell my soul to this, Stel. You know that, right? Everyone in my chat knows that I will never sell my soul to this. I think it's nonsense. I will stand by it. I'd rather have a smaller channel and tell the truth. So in Savva Stel, I went hunting around for some information about how well Ange has done at this football club. So let's start with this. And bear with me, people. I'll get some comments in a minute. Please smash the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. By the way, there's 385 of you and 74 likes. Come on, let's not play this game, shall we? And let's smash the subscribe button as you come in as well, please. And subscribe to Tottenham Away. By the way, West Ham, Fabrizio Romano has just announced that West Ham are now in talks with Carlos Soler, the midfielder from PSG. It's just embarrassing how other clubs are getting business done. Anyway, here we go. Are you ready for this, Stel?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Right, banners. Where are they? There's a lot of them. Here we go. I've even given it a little title. There we go. Spurs form since the opening 10 games of last season. Now, the reason why I've done it since the first 10 games is that's when Spurs hit their first roadblock. And that's where, for me, Stel, you see what is a manager learning? Has everyone figured us out? And how does he change it? Now, bearing in mind, this is a couple of weeks shy of being 10 months ago. 10 months ago. The actual date was November the 6th. Okay? So we're a couple of weeks shy of it being 2 months. Spurs have played 29 games. I'll ask you this, Stel. How many Premier League? How many games do you think Tottenham have won of those 29 Premier League games?
Since Chelsea, isn't it? I'd say maximum 10.
In the chat, how many games have Spurs won? How many games? I'm going to tell you anyway. Here we go. Someone said 15. I wish it was 15. Someone else has said 7. It's a little bit better than that. Spurs have won 12 out of 29 Premier League games. That's a 41% win ratio. Just to give some meat around those bones, Stel, this is very similar to the likes of Crystal Palace. This is very similar to the likes of Wolves, etc., to Bournemouth. 12 wins. How many defeats do you reckon there are in those 29 games?
We hardly drew any games, so it's probably going to be quite a lot then. 15?
The exact same amount. We have drawn 12 games, so we've lost 40% of those 29 games under Ange, and this is up to and including last night. That means there were 5 draws, another 17%. So of those 29 games, Spurs have won 12 of them. Here's a question. In those 29 games still, how many clean sheets has this wonderful back four and tactics allowed us to keep?
Cleaned 5, if we're not over 4.
3 clean sheets. 3 clean sheets. Right, 3 clean sheets. So, by the way, guys and girls, the reason I'm doing this is when you go to the other shows and they all tell you how bad I am, how bad Stel is, and we're negative and we should go and die of cancer or whatever we're being told on any given day. These are facts. These aren't opinions. These are facts. Let's move on to the next one, shall we? So that makes it obvious. 26 games where we did concede a goal. In that time, Spurs have scored how many goals, Stel? How many goals in 29 games did Tottenham Hotspur score?
29?
Oh, it was better than that. It was better than that. We've scored 50 goals.
It's not bad.
It is. It's not bad. How many do you think we've conceded in those 29 games still?
Well, if it's equal wins and losses, let's just say 50.
53. So in the last 29 games, we've got a -3 goal difference. By the way, I'm not teaching anyone to suck eggs here. 29 games is a bloody long time, right? This is nearly a whole season's worth of games. Still, from our last 12 Premier League games, how many games do you think we've won? including this game and the back end of last season. So 11 last year and 1 this year.
Sorry, since when?
The last 11 games of last season and the first game this year. So 12 games.
Jesus. 1, maybe 3.
Spurs have won 4 games. And all 4 games still were against last season's bottom 4. Burnley, Luton and Sheffield who went down. And Forest who finished 17th, just above the relegation zone. Let that sink in. This is where we're at as a club at the moment, right? For all these people absolutely sucking off Ange and saying how brilliant this process is, these are the facts. Since the 10th of December still, since the 10th of December last year, how many teams do you think we've beaten in the top 10 of the table? How many do you think we've beaten?
Hardly any. Villa once. Newcastle once.
Do you want to stop there? We didn't beat. That was after the Newcastle game, right? After the Newcastle game. Since then, we've won 1 game against a top 10 side. 1 game, right? So again, look at all of these facts. I am not making up. These are facts. Are you writing this down?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to use these, aren't you? Right? These are all facts. Here we go. VDV and Romero. I keep hearing they're wonderful. They're a wonderful centre-back partnership. And there's nothing wrong with Ange's tactics. Look at this. They've played the last 10 games together for Spurs. The last 10 league games they've played, including today's, and the last 9 of last season, we averaged 2 goals a game against us. Let that sink in, right? Over a season, how many bloody goals is that? 2 a game against us. That is absolutely mental. Everybody, you sticking with me so far, right? Are you sticking with me so far, right? Look at
this is actually shocking. Do you know that?
Right. But this is why I wanted to break it down. So what I get told a lot by all the YouTubers and the people in my comments still is they always say, but Savva, they're your facts. Savva, they're your truths. Still, these aren't my facts or truths. These are Tottenham Hotspurs. These aren't mine. Yeah? Here we go. Are you ready for the next one?
Go for it.
Here's Tottenham Hotspur's form in that time. Now, in the last 30 games of the season, our form would have seen us 8th. Okay? So our form over the last 30 games would have seen us finish exactly where we did the season before, where we had absolutely all that mess with Conte and his rant, Stellini, Mason, no centre-halves, right? This is where we finished. Last 30 games, we would have been 8th. The last 25 games, picked up a tiny bit, would have been 5th. The last 20 games of the season, we were 8th. The last 15 games of the season, we were 8th. And just to show you how it's getting worse and worse and worse, the last 10 games of the season, by the way, this is when we had all our squad fit still. This isn't when we had any injuries. We were 12th. And the last 5 games of the season, we were 13th. If you average all of that, if you average those last 30 games for Spurs,
it's mid-table.
Right? There you go. 9th. We would have finished 9th on average. So apart from this brilliant start to last season, look how bad this club has been. Now, we talked about this before, Stel. Just to put some context on this, before people say that Ange needs money and Ange needs his players and blah, 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 blah. Spurs, since Ange joined Tottenham Hotspur, have spent 431 million euros. Right? And in the same time frame, Man U are closest to us. Man U have spent 370, so we spent 60 million more than Man United, who, whatever we say about finishing above them, won a trophy. Arsenal were next in behind. They've spent 311 million. So this is including this summer, by the way. This is including this summer, the previous January and the previous summer. Aston Villa, 287 million. An Aston Villa club, an Aston Villa side that have finished above us 2 years in a row, played 17 games more than us last season, have spent 150 million less than us. in that time as well, have sold two of their top players in Diaby and Luis. They spent that much. Man City, 284 million euros. And Liverpool, 172 million euros. We've spent double Liverpool, double and some. Stel, I'm going to shut up now. That's all my facts. But I went digging. When we're called negative, please just show everybody all of that. And no one has got a leg to stand on. There's no way all of that can be refuted. What do you say, Stelios?
Good night. Thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure being here. shut the stream. I mean, that you can't. No one can argue it. The only thing anyone will ever say is trust the process, be patient. It takes time. Blah 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 blah. But then, how long's Unai Emery been there? How long's Ten Hag been there? I think what this proves is one thing, and it all comes back to what we've been saying like forever. We don't sign quality, and these players aren't big game players. They're not high pressure players. Ange isn't a big time manager, and that's why. I mean, the biggest one for me that stood out was since December the 1st, we've won one game against the top 10. One game. We are so dependent on beating the bottom 10 consistently, and the likes of the Werners, the Kulus, the Brennan Johnsons, I'd whack Solanke in there as well, and whatnot. We are so dependent. Their stats all depend, Richarlison, on scoring against the bottom 10. And actually, when I did that running total last year to prove Brennan Johnson goes missing in 20% of games against the top 10, so does Kulu, so does Richie, and Solanke is the same. We have signed average players who stand out against below average teams, but as soon as they play that mid-table average or above, they're not good enough. And that's why all this data is the way it is. It's because we've signed a lot of average players. Okay, we land a good player once in a while, a Van de Ven, a Bergvall. But with that comes a Yang, an Odegaard, a Veliz. We signed a good player like Bergvall, great. But with that comes a Viskovic, who we haven't seen, and Ashley Phillips, who doesn't get into the squad. So for every one good signing, it's almost like 3 or 4 very average players come into this club, and we promote it as if, look what we're doing. This is the rebuild. It's exciting times. But all the data says no. The complete opposite is happening at the club. The total opposite.
All the data. But people don't want it. And by the way, just really, really quickly, I mean, look, I knew, not this stat. Look, agree. Big up to you, Christian. Look, I knew the sort of people that would make excuses. Eugene is the biggest excuse maker. Let's look at how bad this comment is. Spending isn't an accurate stat because unlike other teams, we need to update our whole squad. So, Eugene, what you're saying is then, right? So we can just keep buying as much deadwood as we want, as many kids as we want, because we have to build a squad. Eugene, of course spending is an accurate stat. Aston Villa needed to buy a squad, right? Aston Villa needed to buy a squad and went out and did what they needed to do over the last 3 years, right? So I don't understand this, right? Let me just put it into perspective for you. In Unai Emery's first 8 months at Tottenham, Aston Villa, do you know, and he was there from October through to May, obviously. Do you know in those 8 months, Stel, what his average league position would have been over those 8 months since he took over at Aston Villa?
Top 6? Third, really, wow.
Third. Yeah. He went in there. Again, all of this, it takes time. He went in there, first year, picked up that team from Steven Gerrard, who was 17th, 16th, hardly lost a game, turned people like Tyrone Mings into Bobby Moore for a season, and got them 5th. right? Got them 5th above Spurs. Then carried that on last year by getting 4th and going to the semi-finals of the European competition. But look at the excuses made for us. And then again, you need to be fair about the spend. Some players the club were committed to. One player. Do you know who we were already committed to, which wasn't on Ange?
Kulu?
Porro. Kulu wasn't an obligation to buy. Kulu was an option to buy that Ange said, I signed it off. And net spend, still, we went through this before. Honestly, this guy, go and have a look at the net spend. Spurs is terrible.
I disagree about this net spend thing, and I'll tell you why. Number one, just because you sell £200 million worth of players, there's no obligation to spend that on players. I look at what you spend because that's what the club have chosen to put into new purchases. Also, we should never look at net spend because we were told this £1 billion stadium, the concerts, the NFL, the Formula One, the hotel we're building, the whole point of that was so that we can outspend the competition or at least compete with the biggest spenders. So looking at net spend, if you're saying to me now, we should look at, but we have to sell to invest, then why did we build this stadium? Why did we build this new stadium and basically suffocate Poch for 2 seasons? Sorry, that net spend, I think, has a good argument, but not when you've done what Spurs have just done and built this cash flow empire. That doesn't work.
Again, Eugene, I know you're the king of excuses, but I'm just going to put this out. I like Eugene, by the way. He's a really nice guy. But everything that comes out his mouth, look at all the facts I've just shown you there still, and we still will refute it. Eugene, do you know that Ange has made 14 signings at Tottenham? This is the thing. If you come to an argument, have the data, right? Spurs have made 14 signings under Ange Postecoglou. Do you know how many of them are first-team starters? Guaranteed. Do you want to go through it? Vicario, Mickey van der Ven, James Maddison, Solanke now, who's played 1 game, and Brennan Bloody Johnson. Right? So when we're saying we needed to spend more than others, you're making it out like he's actually changed the whole 11. If you take Solanke out of that, who has played 1 game for us, and Brennan Johnson, who is absolutely shit, and we'll get to this later, he's hardly made any changes to the actual 11.
Look at the starting lineup against Leicester. 1 change from last season. But look, every single, even the happy clappers, the Levy lovers, the Ange Ball myth merchants, everyone said at the end of last season, we need that holding mid, controlling midfielder. Yeah. We said we need a backup for the left and right wing backs, or at least 1 backup. We need a proper forward attacking wide man. We need cover for Maddison. We need a proper striker. If we can get 3 of those, we didn't address any of it. We haven't addressed any of it. Bergvall we bought in January. We were told Neto, Eze, Zubimendes, Elise's, none of them, not even 1 came to this club. How many Spurs fans and journalists and podcasters, you name it, Eze is a done deal. He wants Spurs. He was in the corporate box with his agent last season. He's clearly coming to Spurs. His family
have been wined and dined.
Oh, my God. And we sat there going, guys, like, until this guy's actually signed, this is all awful.
Yeah.
Where's the holding mid? We brought back Jed Spence because we didn't want to go and fund a proper cover for the left or right back. So the reality is Spurs didn't need to spend more than the rest. Spurs just need to go and buy those 3 key positions just to raise the levels for the first team. We didn't do it.
It's mad. It's absolutely mad. And again, do you know why Spurs have to keep spending? It's to people like Eugene who say this. We have to keep spending because we keep spending it badly. If you keep buying average players, you are going to have to replace those average players with more players. That's, what's the old saying? Buy cheap, buy twice. Pay peanuts, get monkeys. You know what I mean? Like, you can, however many stereotypes you want to put on it. Look, I'm not sitting here saying, this is the worst I've ever seen Spurs, blah, blah, blah. But this man seems to have the best PR I've ever seen. This club seems to have the best PR. And I'm just out there putting out some truths, and people will hate me for it. People will absolutely hate me for those truths, right? And again, Eugene, you're not getting it. Our squad is crap now, Eugene. Sorry to feel like I'm picking it. Our squad is crap now. Surely, if you want to build a squad still, surely this window we should have gone, right, there's 4 first-team players pushing 4 of the first team into squad players. What we've gone and done is the opposite. We've gone and bought loads of kids and gone, hey, we've built a squad. And what you were just saying there, Stel, all of these fans, I was exactly the same, by the way. You were the same, Stel. All of us. Tell me in the chat if you weren't one of these. Everyone at the beginning of the summer said, right, we need a midfielder. Right, it needs to be a number 6 or a proper, really good central midfielder that can protect the back 4. We all need a top forward, and we definitely need a top winger that can beat a man and cause havoc. When that didn't happen, Stel, we've now got people going, oh, but Odegaard, oh my God, he's got the best 5 dribbles in Europe for his agent. So hang on. The beginning of the window, everyone was in unison as to what was needed. We haven't done it. And now all of a sudden, excuse after excuse after excuse. I'm just so tired of it.
Listen, Conte got top 4 with a far less squad. Mourinho got to a cup final with a far less squad. And chokes in the first couple of rounds of cup games. He can't set us up defensively when the pressure's on. He spent more money than any of those managers, and all those stats you showed has us averaged 9th, which is lower than where any of those managers finished. The reality is we haven't bought good players. We've got a manager who's out of his depth when it comes to the defensive phase. And I actually question his attacking coaching as well. It's almost like we can only score one type of goal. Cross the box, back post, or lay it in, diagonal shot. It's all close range, no long range, no free kicks. No creative 2-on-1s, no 3-on-2s. Can we play the numbers? It's all very. Every game looks the exact same.
It does. But I keep hearing that we're this great attacking team. I don't think we are a great attacking team.
I don't think so.
I don't see any variation in the way we play. You know, if you watch Liverpool, for example. Liverpool will have spells where, like in the first half last week, Liverpool, their main tactic was, can we get Salah in down the right over the top, right? Second half, they changed it up. They all went a bit shorter, right? They all camped in the other half. They were trying to prod and probe. Spurs do the same thing every time. It is the same painful thing. Wingers get the ball, both cut in. Wingers get the ball, both cut in. Give it to Maddison, and let's hope that Maddison could do something. And then all the pressure goes onto James Maddison's shoulders. I genuinely don't know what we're doing. Still, I genuinely don't know. And I called out a number of YouTubers this morning, not in a horrible way. I've got nothing against them as people, right? I'm calling out their opinions. And I'm seeing YouTubers that are getting 1,000 subscribers per week at the moment because their titles say, genius signing by Ange. Look how Solanke's perfect for the setup. And fans go, oh my God, yeah. But the facts don't back up any of what these people are actually saying. And still, listen, I know we're very much Levy out, but Ange, there's got to be a spotlight surely on this manager still, because in
100%.
9 months, 10 months, nothing has changed.
Look, Savva, I've always defended every manager to the hill, right? Even when everyone turns against, I'm like, no, I'm backing this guy. And then last year, I was literally on my own with a couple of others defending Conte, okay? The year before even. But I said with Ange, if this guy signs Timo Werner, re-signs him, I'm sorry, but that is the biggest red flag, because you are accepting failure. You're accepting problems. You are the biggest yes man if you accept Timo, because Timo is horrendous. Absolutely abysmal in front of goal, and he's a forward attacker. So that was my non-negotiable. I called it my non-negotiable. If we sign him, I'm checking out. I'm sorry. As soon as we signed him, I went on We Are Tottenham TV. I told everyone. I said it on every channel. I'm not surprised this is happening, because that Timo Werner signing, I'm not blaming this all on Timo, but that was a sign of what's to come. When you got people saying things like, but we could have been 4-0 up. We had chances. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. We didn't put the ball in the back of the net. Solanke missed 2 wonderful chances. One was a 6-yard header, which he put into the palms of the goalie's hands. And the other one was a little bit harder, but rather than going across the goalie, he smashed it into the goalie's hands again. That is the sign of someone who's not great. He's not that good. He had 1 good season in 5 years. 75% of his goals were against crap teams last season. And we spent 65 million on him. Brennan Johnson, he's shit. He shouldn't be at Spurs. Timo Werner, I've already told you about him. Veliz, waste of money. Kulu goes missing in most games. Richarlison, 89th minute, close range header. Can you score the win against Leicester? He puts it wide. Solanke and Richarlison, our 2 strikers, missed headers from 6 yards out. And the right back, Porro, scores a wonderful header from 12 yards out. There's your problem when it comes to the attack. And the reality is, Savva, I knew we were going to sign these types of players because Timo Werner was the catalyst. As soon as we signed him, I knew where this was going to go.
He set the tempo. He set the tempo for the summer.
He set the tempo for the summer. He proved that Ange's a yes man. And the worst thing of all is we're going to hear this all season. But we dominated the ball. But we had more chances. It means nothing. Leicester City, 1 big chance, goal for Vardy. They don't need to create 30 chances if 1 chance they score. So unless you take your chances, like this, do you remember that season? I think it was Jose or Conte. We hardly created any chances. We maybe created 3 or 4 chances a game, but Son and Kane would all score. And they broke the record as the best partnership that season. You don't need to create a lot of chances if you've got absolute quality up front because they will put it in the back of the net. What we do now is we create 20, 25 chances a game, but they can't score because they're not that great. They're not good enough.
How many of them were signed by this manager? Brennan Johnson.
Most of them, yeah.
We'll talk about Brennan Johnson in a minute. By the way, guys, look, for me as well, where I find it a little bit disingenuous, right? Lots of people are saying, oh, yeah, but Solanke's an upgrade on Richarlison. Now, do you know where I find this a tiny bit disingenuous, Stel? Is for the last
He's more technical. He's more technical as a football player.
But in general, what I mean is, in the last 14 games last season, when Richarlison was available for most of them, do you know how many he started?
Yeah, Solanke's played more games.
But he started 1. So he's not replacing Richarlison. Son was who played up front last year because this manager wanted Werner on our left wing. So for most games towards the end of last season before Werner got injured, it was Werner, Son, and Johnson.
Yeah, Kulu, yeah.
So we've got, with all the best will in the world, and we'll talk about it in a minute, we've got an aging Son who he is simply not having the same effect on games he used to. But that age gets us all, right? I'm sure there's things I can't do at my age that I could do 10 years ago. You've got an aging Son. You've got Brennan Johnson, who we're going to talk about him right now, is one of the worst signings I think I've ever seen in a Spurs shirt. Sure. And you've got Dominic Solanke, who's had 1 good year, and everyone's making videos about this is genius. This guy, everyone's doing that thing now where they've got the video clips and they're going, if you look here and you do that, I watched him yesterday. I thought his hold-up play was dreadful. And the difference for me still is, and this is what I said a few weeks ago when we signed him. Sorry, hang on. This can't be a big overreaction. I've just given you a 10-month sample size. 10 months.
Yeah.
10 months, Mahfouz. I don't know how much more of a sample size you need for it to be an overreaction.
Savva, there's people in the chat saying, give Solanke a chance. It's his first game. No, it's not his first game playing football. It's not his first game playing Premier League. He scored 19 goals last season. He cost £65 million. You're supposed to be oven ready. His chances didn't even test the goalkeeper. He didn't even test the goalie. I'm sorry. Yes, he'll score goals for us, but he's not the guy you lot think he is. And he's going to prove it this season. He's not.
Absolutely. And look, listen, by the way, I've got nothing against Solanke. I think Solanke is a good forward. He's a good forward. I'm not going to go into raptures.
I'm not against him. He's not good enough, though. He's not good enough.
What he's going to find this year, and I could be completely wrong on this still, when he plays for Bournemouth, no one sticks 10 men behind the ball against Bournemouth. right? No one. So a lot of his goals, he's got space to run into, space for them to feed him in. He can run at their back four. You saw yesterday, Leicester won't be the only team to do that. They put 10 behind us, and then all of a sudden, now you see, you coach still, you now see in those tight areas who's got the footwork, who's got the ability. Kane had it. You could give Kane the ball in the tight area. Jermaine Defoe had it. Give him the ball in a tight area. His first touch out, boom. I don't know if Solanke's got that, and we're gonna find out. But all of these Ponzi videos about genius summer move and Spurs are scary. And Stel, Brennan Johnson. And by the way, big up to everyone in the chat. Look, there are 800 people exactly right now, and only 228 likes. That is, we're at Richarlison, Solanke conversion rates. Can we please? We're at Spurs win rates at the moment. Can we get that to 400-500 ASAP, please? And big up to Mafio, who has said Arteta spend at Arsenal 760 million and Spurs spend at the same time 837 million. Why fans are acting like Spurs didn't spend before? And Mafio, my issue has never been that us as a club spend money. It's that we spend it badly. Arsenal will go out and get... Look at Arsenal the last 3 or 4 years. They're going out and dropping in players who walk straight into the first team. Yeah, that create competition. Spurs are just buying loads and loads of kids that eventually most of them don't work and end up getting sold. But big up, Mafio. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, my friend. And keep subscribing, people. We've had 7 new subscribers in this show. Let's get that up to about 20, shall we? Stel, Brennan Johnson. That's all I'm going to say to you. Go.
It's absolute waste of money. Us 50 million quid down the drain. There was a moment yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw it. Brennan Johnson, he's come across, put in a brilliant slide tackle. He's won the ball. Fair play to him. He gets up. He then runs down the wing. He's got all the space in the world. It opens up. And rather than going and attacking the channel, he looks, doesn't know what to do. And then he comes back, slips over the ball and loses possession. It was in the first half where he did that. And he's an attacking wide player. So,
my door went.
You know, I watched it, and I remember I was in the sports bar in Texas, and I just banged my hand on the table like, "What the f are you doing? How can you put in such a good tackle that he did? You then get all that space in front of you. This is your job: attack that wide flank, invert into the box." He didn't know what to do. He didn't know whether should I run, should I dribble, how do I attack, and then he got himself into a state of confusion. He then decides, you know what, I'll go back to where I started from. And he slips on the ball. And you think, you're shit. Your brain, it doesn't exist. You're not a good player. He had one good chance. I think he chested it and then he laced it on the half volley and the goalie caught it in the first half. That was actually a quite decent chance. But overall, he's crossing, one good cross in every 8 or 9 chances. Doesn't really take on a man. He always looks confused when the camera zooms in on him. He's always like this. It doesn't, you know, you're not that calm, composed, confident player. The ball zooms in on Bergvall, and you think this guy knows what he wants to do. He looks like he knows what. He'll come short and he'll say, "Yeah, give me the ball. I'll try and get something going for us." Whereas, £50 million. This is a shocking signing. Last year I called him out, and I stick by what I said. I think Brennan Johnson is a complete waste of money. He's nowhere near going to give us what we need. He'll pop up with a last-minute winner, a tap-in against Sheffield United. He might help us beat Leicester when Leicester come to our ground later on in the year. But do you trust this guy against City, Chelsea, Brighton, Newcastle, Villa, North London derby, a tough game away on a Wednesday night? No chance. I don't want him to start. I don't want him playing. I actually put a message out halfway during the game on the social media saying, get him off the pitch, don't let him play any more minutes, and put Bergvall on the pitch. Put someone who's technically inept. Even if Kulu comes on, I don't care. I don't want him on the pitch. He's killing us. Mm-hmm. And we took off Maddison.
Look, listen, by the way, lots of people saying, oh my God, Son's getting away with criticism. Hang on. We're only 40 minutes into the show. Do you think I'm going to let anyone get away with criticism? Don't be silly. We're going to get there in a minute. But the problem is, Johnson's never been a good player. Son is going that way because of age. Johnson should be going that way and isn't. But we'll come to Son in a minute. Yeah, look, Brennan Johnson, again, the thing that made me laugh still, and this kind of ties into the Brennan Johnson piece, is all summer, again, all the videos, all the content I've seen, Spurs Youth Factory is scary. Spurs are producing the best young players in world football. Spurs Academy this. Our kids are great. They're generational. We get to the first game of the season, right? And do you know, Stel, who was on the bench yesterday that came through our academy or started from the 20-man squad?
No, probably none.
Brandon Austin.
Right. So I want to talk about this. All summer long on my channel, Tottenham Away, I kept saying to everyone, and all the time on social media, I kept saying, these kids are not playing for Spurs. I have spoken to the academy director. I've spoken to him twice about this. He doesn't believe they're ready. Ange agrees. Stop getting sucked in. There is no Project Youth. Maybe in the future, but right now, they're not playing for Spurs. Mikey Moore dropped from the squad for the first game. Lancashire dropped from the squad for the first game. But Mikey Moore's going to play for Spurs. He's going to get lots of minutes this season. I told you this was going to happen. I said to everyone this was going to happen. But you rather listen to other Spurs channels and the journalists who don't have this direct link with the club, the academy that I luckily get. And I said this was going to happen. And the only one I said that will get minutes will be Bergvall and maybe Archie Gray, because I spoke to the academy guy, director, before we signed Archie Gray. So Archie Gray, I don't know. Looks like Archie Gray will get minutes because he came on yesterday. These kids aren't playing for Spurs, Savva. None of them are going to get a chance. That starting 11 and the squad.
I'll be there with you.
I've said it for 3-4 months. So stop listening to these people that just say things because it sounds great and they want it to be fake positive. I'm a realist. I'll say it as it is. It's exactly what happened. I wasn't surprised one bit. I was laughing my head off because I thought, you're all in the mud. You're all in the mud, but I haven't got the energy for it, Savva.
It just makes me laugh. In this kind of YouTube world, what makes me laugh more than anything is if you are accurate and bring up facts, you're negative. If you've got nothing good to say, I don't know, I'm just providing facts. If you just go on and go, Spurs youth is amazing. This year, we're going to see them flourish. I've said all summer, you can play these kids in the second half of games in pre-season. Every single club plays their youth in pre-season, right? Everyone. And for some reason, our fans made it out still that we were different this week. We were the only club playing our youth. Do you know, if you actually look still, we were one of the only clubs that never actually started any of our academy in the pre-season. The only one who started was Jamie Donnelly because we had no left back. He's the only one that started. All of the others, Mikey Moore, Hall, whoever, Lancashire, all of these people, George Abbott, Ashley Phillips, they all only came on in second half of games. And everyone lost their mind. Oh, my God. Now, I'm going to ask you this still, and this is going to round off the Brennan Johnson piece. I'm not saying, by the way, that Mikey Moore doesn't look very good. I'm not. I'm also saying he's 17, and I've seen many 17-year-olds that are going to be the next big thing. If Mikey Moore is this generational footballer, but our manager decides Brennan Johnson's going to start in front of him, and even further, Mikey Moore's not even then on the bench, and Timo Werner is going to be the player that then comes on the right-hand side. Plus, you've just bought Odeberg who can play right or left. Plus, Solomon's still at the club. What must Mikey Moore be sitting there thinking? Everyone's raving about him, and our manager would rather play Deadwood there than give Mikey Moore half an hour, 20 minutes.
It's shocking. It's shocking. This is the whole. What do Spurs want? That's what it comes down to. What do we want?
Agreed.
Right? Do we want to build a team that's for the now, that's going to attack the Premier League, that's going to go after the Europa Cup? Then you've got to sign quality players. End of. If we're a team that's going to build over 5 years, then slowly sign 2 or 3 really good players and bring in a couple of kids and slowly build it. What we do is we play the kids pre-season, then send them all out on loan, sell them or drop them from the squad. We buy some very random players like Odeberts that are now taking a place for a future academy player. We sign Veliz, who takes a place for an academy player.
Right.
We bring in a Solomon, who takes a place for an academy player. But then they're not even good enough for now. They're not good now. So I just look at Spurs and I say, and this is probably going to upset people, we're a bloody mess again. It's a mess again. It doesn't make sense. I'm not surprised by that result yesterday. I thought we were going to beat Leicester, by the way. I predicted we'll beat Leicester because I didn't think we'd be that dysfunctional against Leicester. I thought we'd be better. But again, a bit of pressure put on us and we look like we're going to collapse. I don't know what Spurs are doing, Savva. I don't know what... I know the under-18s is the best batch we've got in that kind of 16 to 21 range. The 18s, so give them a couple of years. Mikey Moore's from that batch. But really, it's the 10 to 14s in 6-8 years' time. They're the ones that will really benefit from the new academy process that Simon Davies, the academy director, has put in place. But you're looking at Ange ain't going to be here for that. That's going to be the 3rd or 4th manager from Ange. So I don't know what we're doing. I don't get what we're doing.
But still, you just hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. Right? You think about it. Spurs went and bought Veliz, who, by the way, I mean, I watched Veliz play for Seville. He does nothing. I watched him yesterday playing for Espanyol. Awful. He honestly, you know, sometimes you watch and you go, oh, you're raw. You could, I see something in you. I'm watching him going, someone at Spurs decided to sign him and block the path of Will Lancashire. Who's the other one? Who's the double-barreled guy? Always forget his name. We got him from Chelsea. Striker.
We signed a player from Chelsea.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Young forward. Anybody in the chat? Young forward. Why is his name completely gone out of my head?
The only Chelsea player we signed was Lavernier, the wing back.
Judson Sotbell.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, again, 15 million of our transfer budget last year went on Veliz, right? Who has played, a few sub-appearances for us, never actually looked any good, and is now currently on his 2nd loan. But yet you've got everyone wetting their knickers over Will Lancashire, Judson Sotbell. You've got Mikey Moore. Everyone's wetting their knickers about Mikey Moore and Jamie Donnelly, but we're buying Solomons and Verners and Johnsons and Odeberts.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
It's killing the youth. And these guys aren't on short-term contracts except for Werner, who you'd like to think at the end of this season will be gone, but you never know. You never know with what we're going to do. I know for a fact Alfie Devine wants out of the club. Mm-hmm. He loves being at Spurs, but he wants out. He thinks his career is being destroyed, and he's not wrong.
Yeah.
So we are going to lose an Alfie Devine doing this. Now, is Alfie Devine good enough? Is he great? We don't know because he hasn't been given the real opportunity. There's a good player there for sure. But is he good enough to step up to this level? We won't know at this rate. Mikey Moore, 100% is good enough. He's a talent, Savva. He's a really good young player.
Sure,
he's the exact kind of young player. If he was at Liverpool under Klopp would find a way to give him time. There's no doubt about it. Klopp would give him some minutes. But at Spurs, I know they're not going to give him the minutes. And when all Spurs fans are saying, he's going to play, what do you know? You don't know anything. I know a lot more about who I'm speaking to than what you think you know. You listen to the Ali Golds. You listen to your favourite YouTube channel. I listen to what the club is saying to me. Yeah. I know Mikey Moore this season isn't going to get the minutes people think he is. He's not. And it's sad because we watch Timo Werner's come on. And we're going to watch Odebert come on. We watch Brennan Johnson fluffing around, not having any technical intelligence. When I say technical intelligence, I mean you've got the brain to see what needs to be done, and you've got the technical ability to execute what you can see. Mikey Moore's actually got that. He's actually got it. So there's no Project Youth like this. There's no Project Youth when we're signing.
No, it doesn't exist.
Well, if you keep signing these players that take potential academy players places in the first team, you're killing Project Youth.
Well, look. At the end of the day, you're right. You are right there, because Klopp would find a way to integrate him.
He would.
Pep Guardiola, he would find a way to get this guy minutes if he's that good. He's done it with all his young players who are good. Look at how he's nurtured Rico Lewis. Not going to start every week, but look how bloody good Rico Lewis is at Man City, because he's nurturing him. He's making him play multiple positions. Spurs Project Youth, I've been told all summer. Oh, just trust in the youth project. Cool. Game 1. And then do you know what the excuse was for none of them being there? Oh, we've got a big game tonight still. Our under-21s are playing whoever we're playing tonight. I don't know, Crawley, or I don't know, Tranmere, someone we're playing tonight. And you know, when you sit there and you think, hang on, if they're that good and these people have been wetting their pants about these people all summer, is it on Ange? Are they not ready? Have we just gone...
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. The first team of Tottenham Hotspur is far more important than an under-21s game. Sorry to break burst anyone's bubble, but it's about the first team. That's what the whole club is supposed to be built around. Anything less than that is a stepping stone to that. The under-21s is not a big game compared to a Premier League live broadcasted match around the world. That's the big game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, Stel, I feel that we really do need to talk about Son. I really feel we need to talk about Son. And I know people get really upset. What I love is in YouTube chats is they think you can talk about the whole team at once. We can only talk about one player at a time. Look, Son, for me, I think we've seen over the last couple of years that his finishing will always be top drawer. His finishing is not in question for me. It's only my personal opinion. I think put him through on goal, I'm going to fancy him to put it in the back of the net. Yeah. I think what we're seeing is everyone said this system would suit him perfectly going back out on the left. I don't think a possession-based style of football at his age actually suits him out on the left, because I think that what you're asking from the winger is to go and beat a man. I'm not seeing him beat men anymore still. And when he is cutting in, he used to unleash amazing shots. Now he's cutting in and just squaring it 5 yards. I'm going to ask a question. It's an awkward question because we all love Son and he's done so much for this football club. Is having Son being a guaranteed starter almost stunting the way that we play in terms of, I'm not saying we've got a lot better there, but is it stunting the way we play in terms of he's not that explosive wide man anymore? He's not that scary player. And the way I categorized him on my video earlier still was he almost sort of is falling into that bracket of being just another average winger amongst wingers in the Premier League. And I think it's really sad to see. But what do you make of the whole Son situation, how he's playing, and what do you make of it?
So, look, first things first, he scored 17 goals last year, 10 assists. So he's our best forward. we can't dispute it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's top again this season, right? However, he's not a striker. But I don't think he's that wide player. In fact, he's not that wide player that he was originally, where he'd get the ball, beat a man, beat another man, cut in, curl it, score. That's not Son anymore. His game's changed. He's older.
Yeah.
He should have left Spurs a couple of years ago, same as Harry Kane, because we as a club just aren't going to meet we're not going to match what they're capable of. But Son is on a slow decline, there's no doubt. Yeah. But he is still scoring a lot of goals and creating a lot over the course of the season. And this is the problem we've got, Savva. The way we play, does it suit Son? No, it doesn't. So is there an argument to say maybe Son is a hindrance? Yeah, there is an argument for that. There's no doubt. Look at the way we play. It's not the way Son is at his best. However, he is our number one player at scoring against the top 10 teams by a country mile. So what do? Do you drop the best player you've got who performs consistently against the top 10?
Yep.
Or do you drop him and say, right, this system doesn't suit you? But then when you look at the alternatives, Werner's, Kulu's, Johnson's, Solomon's, Richarlison's, you think, shit, we're dropping a player because the system doesn't suit him, but the alternative are donkeys. So I think we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. I actually think
I agree.
What we should have done is when we sold Kane and when we could see Son is on a slow decline, cash in and go and sign quality to replace them. And what we've now done is we've created a problem, a big problem.
Stel, do you know what? In this fan base, though, you try and suggest to anyone, do you know what I'd do? I'd sell some for 100 million and I'd go and get a replacement. People would lose their absolute minds. But do you know the difference? Other clubs aren't scared to move people on. And we're very emotionally attached to footballers. And the question I'll ask is, in a year's time, how much are you going to get from Son? In 18 months, how much are you going to get for Son? And are we going to do with him what we've done with everybody else other than Kane, who had to go because he had 1 year left? And we're going to get them to the point where we go, oh, well, 15 million's good. He's only got, 6 months on his contract?
Look. Thierry Henry's, Aguero's, Cantona's, top players, they come to a point where it's time to go, right? It happens to every football player. Messi had to say bye-bye to Barcelona, right? It happens. What you need, though, is a succession plan. Man City brought in Haaland, right? They brought in, whether you think he's good enough or not, Doku's out wide. They have a succession plan. Whether you agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. They won the league, so clearly it worked.
Yeah.
Our succession plan is literally, we got a gun and we said, all right, just shoot everything. Just get as many as we can in, bundle it together, and that should fix it. What are you doing?
Still, let me interject there then. Let me interject there. This would have been the perfect time, right? You think Sonny is our left winger. We know Sonny's our number one left winger. He's our captain. He's not going to go anywhere and he's going to play.
Yeah.
So this is the window for me where you go, right, okay, we know he's getting a bit older. Right. Who is that young left winger? It doesn't have to be young, Bob. It doesn't have to be 18, 19. Who is that left winger that we're bringing in that can rotate with Son, and in a year's time, you move him on and he slots in? You're right. There's no succession planning. And for me, I would have gone, again, that would have been for me a player like Crescencio Somerville, who West Ham picked up for £25 million. A player like that, experience, had it coming off the back of a great year. I'm not saying he's on Son's level, but I'm saying at 22, he's at a good age. He could come in. He's got the skill. He could learn the rest of the game from Son, but we didn't. What did we do? We decided that Timo Werner on loan to play that second fiddle to Son, that was going to be our answer. Timo Werner on loan. Look at Liverpool this week or today. Have you seen the goalkeeper they've just signed today, Liverpool?
No.
They've just signed Mamadashvili, who is brilliant, right?
Yeah.
And the first thing they're doing is they're sending him out on loan for a year. Do you know what that tells me? That tells me that Alisson's told them, I'll give you 1 more year. Right?
I'm going to set it,
So then next year, they don't have to go, oh my God, what do we do? Succession planning. We don't ever plan. We just buy kids and then go, there you go, there's a succession. We buy kids. Look, I get it. Can I ask you a question then? Of course, I'm going to. I don't know why I asked permission.
Yeah.
We say that this system isn't one that gets the best out of Son. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who does this system actually get the best out of? Who? Because the back four are conceding goals for fun. You've got 2 wing backs playing at fullback.
What? Okay, yeah.
What are we doing?
Right. The issue we have is the system works. We create a lot of chances against Leicester, right? The system works. The issue we have is there is no adaptability to the system when the opposition adapt to us. So when Leicester do drop everyone behind the ball, when they are a bit more compact, yes, we create chances, but one, it's the same chance almost over and over and over again. You've got to create a variety of chances. Two, we are so susceptible to the counter attack. It's frightening, and that's what teams are depending on. So I think it's not so much what type of players does this system suit. It's what are we going to do when the opposition stifles our system? And the answer is we do nothing. We don't know what to do because the players are coached one way. Move the ball like this, move the ball like this, move the ball like this. It's the same patterns of play over and over and over again. There's no variety in what we do. You look at Man City when they've got possession of the ball. It's very controlling. It's very relentless. It's dominant. Yeah, they get caught out once or twice on a counter attack. Any team that plays like that will.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more controlled.
There's no chaos. There's no chaos when they play. It looks
exactly. We look like we're in a panic. We look like panic. Where do I go? Where am I supposed to be? Who's marking him? Why haven't you moved there? What? How did we lose possession of the ball there? That's not supposed to happen. We didn't plan for that. I just look at the way we play and I think, do you know what? The football you want to play, Ange, you need really, really good technical football players, intelligent football players. You need to sign Man City players. You haven't done that. You've signed players Man City wouldn't even look at. And you think you're going to pull this off. It's delusional. Mm-hmm. That's why I said at the start of the show when you said, Stel, why are these people the way they are at the club? And I said, Savva, I honestly think it's delusion. They're looking at one thing and they're creating something different in their heads. The benchmark is Man City in terms of if you want to win the league, or Arsenal, because they're the two top teams for they've been the two first and second place teams for the last 2 seasons. That's the benchmark you need to catch. Yeah, we are finding players that are going to do that.
I agree. And before anybody says, "Oh, Man City spent," if you actually look at what Man City have spent in the last 4 or 5 years, they're nowhere near the Man U's, the Chelseas, and the Tottenhams and the Arsenals. Man City. Look, I looked the other day, right, in their starting 11 or in their team. You had Phil Foden, who's come through the youth team. You had a Kanji at centre half who cost £15 million. Savio cost 25 million. And I don't know if anyone's seen Savio play. That lad, now that's a winger. Look at the crap we've got.
He's fantastic. He was amazing at Girona last season. Man. Right. He's a top
superb player. So it just goes to show not everyone, very rarely actually. Man City, 100 million Grealish. I think 80 million Vardy. Other than that, everyone's all kind of in around that 65 or below mark. Yeah. But scouting, where are our scouts picking up these gems? Where's our scouts finding a Savio? Where are our scouts going? A Kanji. Kanji was at Borussia Dortmund for years. Are you telling me when we were top 4, etc., we couldn't have gone and gotten a Kanji?
I go back to Timo Werner, Savva. I said it. As soon as we signed Timo Werner, that was the biggest red flag. That is literally alarm bells, emergency landing, engine on fire. That was the biggest code red. And it's all gone down that avenue. Timo Werner doesn't play for any top 6 club in this country. None of them would touch him. Not one club would touch Timo Werner in the big 6. And we've got in there, not once, but twice. Twice. You think...
I'd sack him on that alone. 100%. Sack him on that alone.
100%. 100%. And people say, oh, but Ange Ball. There's no Ange Balls with Turbo Wieners and Veliz and Solomons. It's such a lie. It's such a lie that's been created. You can't do it.
Last summer, he bought in Brennan Johnson. For me, that was sackable. Then in January, he brings in Timo Werner. And the only thing that I was willing to forgive it for, and I say forgive it loosely, was that it's just covering Son and Richie while they're, while Richie's injured and Son's at the Asian Cup. Then this window, he signs Timo Werner again. And you're sitting there going, this guy either has the worst talent ID we've seen, or he thinks we're Celtic. He thinks we're Celtic. The players he's buying. And I want to move on to the game yesterday and to the signing still. Look, My mate sent me a message this morning, and it basically said, look, he said, I feel for Bergvall and Gray. We shouldn't be looking at 18-year-olds to come off the bench to rescue us. 18-year-olds, that shouldn't be falling on their shoulders. Those guys should be coming into a well-drilled, well-oiled team. And instead, if you noticed yesterday, when Bentancur went down injured, it was about a 5-minute period, and Ange does nothing. Ange doesn't come on and cajole the players. He doesn't go, right, you go there, we're going to change it. No, instead, 4 players go off, 4 come on, and it's more of the same. More of the same. Bergvall, Gray, Kulu, all in the same midfield number 10 area, getting in each other's way. Look, yesterday, still, the second half for me was Spursy. We don't like the word, but it exists. The moment we conceded, we went weak, we went fragile, and it was as though, somebody said this yesterday, Stel. Somebody said, it took Steve Cooper and Leicester City 45 minutes to work out Ange, and they came out in the second half, and they knew exactly how to counter us. They knew exactly how to get in behind us, and arguably had the best chances in the second half to win the game.
What's going to happen when we come up against seasoned pro managers? What's going to happen when we come up against managers that are better than Cooper, better than the players that Leicester City have got? We know exactly how this is going to play out. I honestly thought in the first half, Spurs were by far the better team, but I also felt Leicester offered nothing. I watched the game. I didn't watch it and say, do you know what? Spurs look brilliant here. I thought Spurs were doing really well, but Leicester, they don't offer anything to this game. We're playing a really crap team. That's what I felt like. I didn't feel like we were playing a really good team and we were putting one on them. I didn't feel we were playing a team that looked really good and that we were just schooling them. I felt we were playing well against a crap team. As soon as Leicester said, right, do you know what? Let's ping that ball higher up the field. Let's push a couple more players higher up and send it long. Let's get it out wide and hit those flanks in behind the space. As soon as they asked a few questions of Spurs, we looked lost. Panic. And I thought, do you know something? He's made 2 little adaptations here, Cooper, and we looked rattled. Before they scored the goal, a cross came in, back post, Vardy unmarked, scored a header. Before that cross, they got down the flank, fizzed the ball across our goal line. No one stopped it coming in. No one anticipated. The marking for that was rubbish. Any touch that was in. So there's your warning. And we said, no, try it again from the other side. And then they scored. Any ball into our box, whether it's fizzed on the ground, over the top, diagonal, straight, we're lost. We don't know how to defend it. We don't know where our players are positioned. We've got no awareness of where the opposition are and where we should be. We look completely lost. Any attack that's quick down the flanks, we look like we're struggling. We don't know how to protect that attack. And I just thought, if Leicester did that in the first half, we wouldn't have had this dominant display by Spurs. It just took them a while to say, you know what, let's try this now. And I think they also tried to play that defensive game just to stay in the game, so at least they could give it a go the second half. And I think at 1-0, it was salvageable for them. If it was 3-0 in the first half, I think it's over. The game's over.
Of course,
that's the quality players in the forward area.
For all our domination in the first half, though, can you really remember a clear-cut chance other than the Solanke diving header?
Clear cut, no. Half chances, yes.
Half chances, right?
Clear cut, no. Clear cut, no.
I'm not knocking it. You're absolutely spot on. I can see it now. The winger got the ball. He fizzed it across the 6-yard box, and I was thinking, thank God there is no Leicester City player there. And then Fatawu, right? I remember I did a show the day before with Wayne Holland. I think he's on with you tonight, isn't he, Wayne Holland?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And I said to Wayne Holland about Fatawu. And loads of people in the chat, oh, God, he's crap, he's rubbish. Fatawu gave a doggy the absolute runaround. And the problem is, when you don't have fullbacks that have grown up defending, when you actually have fullbacks that have been wing backs going the other way, they get turned inside out. And Fatawu, in that second half, every time he got the ball, you know what they always say. You tell your wingers as a manager, try and take your man on. See if you've got the beating of him. The first time he beat him was like, he was like, I've got you now. I've got you now. And every time Fatawu just took a Dogie on. Van der Ven, out of position, I don't know how many times yesterday. Romero, ball watching, just constantly ball watching.
It's because, Savva, it's because we constantly get pulled apart. We're being pulled apart because of, I've tried to explain this, but it's not easy. We're not coached the transitional part of defending. So there's defending, there's attacking, but then when you lose possession, you've got to quickly transition into defending. When you win possession, you've got to quickly transition into attack. That transition phase, what is the movement? What are the patterns? What's the thinking? I don't think that transitional element of from attack to defend, we are coached to the level required, not for top six, for Premier League. Because Leicester are not an amazing side. I honestly, and I've said this a few times, I don't think Ange has got it up here defensively the way a lot of other managers do. And I think it's because his whole philosophy is possession-based, and if we've got the ball, we can score. If they don't have the ball, they can't score. I'm going to focus on possession, and that is going to be my defensive tactic. Because if we've got the ball, they're not going to score. That's my defensive philosophy. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, you are not going to have the ball 100% of the game. So it doesn't matter what manager you are, even if you're Pep, arguably the best attacking coach there is, you need to learn to coach defending, especially in the transition if you're a possession-based team. I don't think Ange coaches transitional defending. And I watch us and I think, this is too easy to pull us apart. We're so wide open. We're so lost as to where we should be. Is that element coached? Of course, they coach defending, but are they coaching the transitional element? I don't think we are. And the sooner we get a set piece coach that can teach us how to defend, not just dead balls, but when the ball is live and it comes into the box like a set piece, the better. Because the coaches we've got, they're so out of their depth, they're so clueless. It's frightening. We see the same thing happen every game. I don't think Ange has got it defensively up here. And it's not hating him. I don't think he's ever needed it because of the leagues and the teams he's had. But in this league, I'm sorry. You can't defend. Even Pochettino he created the best defensive team in Europe. We had the best stats. And Poch was an attacking manager. You've got to defend. It's part of the game. I don't think Ange is good at it, Savva. I just don't think he gets it.
Look, I completely agree with you. And
I don't think he gets defending. I really
this is the thing. You can go and manage Celtic, who should win the league anyway, right? I'm not knocking it, but let's be fair. Celtic are going to win this Scottish League again, right? Brendan Rodgers will win it again, right? When you are the best team in the country with all the best players, you can do that. Celtic squad compared to everyone else's is so light years ahead, you can do that. At Tottenham, he's not got the best squad. At Tottenham, you are playing against proper players. And yesterday, let's be fair, most people have got Leicester City to get relegated. And that's how we collapsed against a new team. By the way, I didn't see one new signing in that Leicester City 11. So this was in my eyes, I don't know if anyone, Fayez was already there, Vestergaard was there, James Justin, Winks, Ndidi, Vardy, Bonotti on loan from Brighton. But this was a team that came up from the Championship with no new signings still and figured us out in half a game. They figured out the tactics. And Ange doesn't do anything to counter it. Nothing.
I don't think he knows. I don't think he gets it. So do you know? Someone said to me today, "Calm down, calm down. The first game is always hard against a promoted team." And I said, "Are you just dismissing the fact we finished 5th in the Premier League? Are you just dismissing that fact that we're a top 6 club that spent £400 million? Are you dismissing all the reasons as to why We should have won that game, no question. Are you just dismissing that? If that was Arsenal, if that was Liverpool, that was City, if that was any of the big six clubs, would that have been acceptable?
Well, when Man U won 1-0,
that second half was like, then it got something.
No, I was going to say, when Man U won 1-0 on Friday night, it was, oh, God, United looked awful. United are well lucky. When we draw, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. It's only the first game. I don't care whether this is the first game, the 15th game, the last game. You have to be beating the promoted teams. You simply have to if you want to do anything.
You've literally just, about an hour ago, you reeled off about 20 stats showing that against the top 10 teams, we're shocking, right? The one win against the top 10 team since the 10th of December. So that says to me, you must beat the bottom half teams because you're not going to do it against the top 10. If you don't beat the bottom half teams, where does that leave you? Yeah. And this is what? Where's Leicester going to finish this season? Bottom 10, most probably?
Bottom 5. I truly think bottom 5. I can't imagine they'll be able to do that every game.
And Vardy went 1-on-1. He scores that. We're losing 2-1. We could have lost that game. Do you remember when he went 1-on-1 and he's and Vicario made that good?
7-year-old Vardy.
Yeah.
Got in behind our back four for fun. Jamie, in the first minute of the game still, in the first 30, 40 seconds of the game, they put one ball over the top. And I thought, if Jamie Vardy was 5 years younger, he's through there and he scores that.
Goal, yeah. Well, Vicario made a really good save. Thank God we've got Vicario because he has got that in his locker. Vicario is a good shot stopper. There's no doubt about it. If that wasn't Vicario, I don't know what happens.
Catalan 094. Yes, I do bloody deserve more subscribers, don't I, for telling the truth?
So tell your friends. Tell your friends
and
family.
Foremost, by the way, people, please separate football from my personal life. I get so many messages going, oh my God, Savva, your mental health. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. Just because Spurs are shit doesn't mean my mental health is wrong. It's fine. What I will do is say this. Guys, we are 225 subscribers away from 13,500. Massive ask. We've got 900 people just under in the chat. If we get that to 13,500 right now, I will give away a shirt of your choice from an official club shop. If it's Spurs you support, you'll get an official Spurs shirt. If it's not, so I'll show you, just so you know that I'm not lying. There we go. 13,276. If that gets to 13,500, it's a massive ask. But there are nearly 900 of you in here, and I fail to believe that you've all subscribed. Couple of super chats to go through quickly. Dalen 4-0 has said, big up, United fan watching. Keep the standards high. Unfortunately, Dalen,
we try.
Many of us have high standards, but the majority of the fan base just want vibes. Unfortunately, they just want vibes. Big up to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Barry Eastthorpe just dropping in a super sticker. Thank you so much. Really, really do appreciate that. Tommy Castillo, big up to you. As a positive propaganda is actually the problem with this club. Bang on. Fans giving Archie Gray an 8 out of 10 for his performance. He lost the ball so much. Until fans wake up and demand better, it will never change. Tommy, the Ange Postecoglou PR machine is brilliant. It is brilliant. We showed you all those stats at the beginning of the show. Any other manager has that 10 months, they're sacked. Those stats are worse than Poch's last 9-10 months. And he got to a Champions League final and he was sacked. Those stats are worse than Conte's last 9 months, Jose's last 9 months. But for some reason, because he kicks the ball forward and plays really positive football, apparently, everyone loves him. And again, I agree with you, not just singling out Gray. Players like Bergvall, Johnson, these players seem to have to do one thing in a game and everyone goes, oh my God, he's brilliant. But again, I'm watching Gray, and I'll ask Stel about Gray in a minute. For me, Archie Gray should be back at Leeds on loan for a year, playing week in, week out, running that midfield for me. I don't think he should be anywhere near a Tottenham team that have got any hope. Big up, Video Complete Sofiana said, get Vanderson, play Vanderson right back and Porro right wing. Look, I think the problem you're going to have there, Video Complete, is we've spent so much money on wingers. I can't imagine he's going to play Porro there. Would I? Yes, I think he's our best attacking player, but I can't see we're going to do this in any way, shape, or form. But I don't necessarily disagree with you. And Shane O'Neill's come in and said, Ange is a disaster. The ego and arrogance of a Mourinho or a Ferguson with the credentials of Neil Lennon. Wow, that's a statement. Getting very sick of this now. I don't disagree with you. I'm sick of it now. I'm sick of his press conferences. He doesn't take responsibility. I think he never acknowledges what he does. And then has a go at us fans, telling us we need winning mentality. And then Jamie Chambers, I just saw a comment. I wanted to respond to this. Sorry, Sun done good last season with Ange football. Sure, it's not about one game. The difference is last year he spent most of the game through the middle where he's going to get chances and finish. On the left, I don't know how much space he's going to get and what he can do in those spaces anymore. I'm not saying he didn't have a good year last year, but I'm just saying now that Solanke's there, he's going to be left. Guys, we had 15 subscribers. We only needed 250, but we've got 15, which is a good way there. Stel, Archie Gray, Bergvall. These are the two midfielders we decided to buy this summer or in the last year, rather than going and actually buying proper midfielders. And the way I summed it up the other day, Stel, was this. I said, if you look at the top four from last year, straight away, you look at Villa, they've got men in midfield. And what I mean by that is McGinn, right? Doesn't matter whether you rate him or not. He gives a 7, 8 out of 10 every game. He's into every tackle. Yeah, he drives forward with a ball. He loves the battle. He's a captain. He's a leader. You've got Kamara next to him, who's a fantastic player. They've just bought Onana, who was excellent against West Ham at the weekend. Arsenal, Jorginho, experienced. Partey, experienced. Rice, experienced. Odegaard. City, I don't even need to go through cities. And then Liverpool. Liverpool got Endo with experience. McAllister with experience as a World Cup winner. Gravenbach has now got more experience. And we're going to buy Bergvall and Gray. Do you understand this at all? Or maybe one of them. We already have Bergvall, but do you understand then getting Gray on top of that?
Again, it goes back to what do Spurs want? If we're building for the future, then fine. If they think Archie Gray is going to be a young talent that in a couple of years' time is going to be really, really good, controlling midfields or playing in that holding mid-role, then fine. I've got nothing against it. But the manager said he wants to challenge for the league title this year. And fans on YouTube channels and podcasts said, yeah, Spurs will finish second this year. I can really see us coming third. You're deluded out of your mind. Like you probably need medication. Because Archie Gray is not ready for that level yet. He's not. Archie Gray is one for the future, we hope, right? He's shown glimpses of actually he might be a good player. He's nowhere near a league title challenging level player. That's for the fairies. I think with Archie Gray, again, Savva, I don't know what we're doing. What is a lot of the players pre-season, they were quoted saying, we want to win the league. We want to challenge for the title. Fine. Then Archie Gray shouldn't be in the squad. In fact, 75% of the players shouldn't be in the squad, if that's the case. But Bergvall, I think, should start. I think he's good enough to start. He's the one that really stood out for me pre-season, but I want to see if he can replicate pre-season in a real season. Because if he can do that, I think he deserves a chance to prove himself in a regular season. I think he's shown enough to me to say, do you know what? There's actually something about you. You get it.
This is what I don't get still. For me, we spent what? Was it 12 million, 10 million on Bergvall? And you think, all right, there's you.
Bergvall was 30 million, Savva. 30 million.
No, it wasn't. No. Hang on. I've got Spurs transfers up here. Haven't I, from earlier? Tottenham's transfers, players in. Lucas Bergvall, 10 million euros.
Okay, I think that's a great bit of business then.
It
10
is,
million.
But my point is this still. We knew going into this transfer window that we'd already signed Lucas Bergvall. Sorry, it might be a bit dark in here. We knew that we'd already signed Lucas Bergvall and he was coming in as a young midfielder to learn and grow and get minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we go and spend 30 to 40 million on another 18-year-old midfielder. I just don't get it. Could that 30 or 40 million, whatever,
And Odebert. We signed another bunch on Odebert.
And then 30 million on Odebert. That 60 million pounds gets you a first-team player in centre mid or right wing. And again, when people are going, trust the process, blah, 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 you don't know about Ange. I mean, I don't want to know about Ange. If this is what Ange Ball is, if this is his talent ID, and for once still, I know you're not going to like this, I'm starting to actually relinquish some blame this summer from Levy. If I'm going to be honest, this guy has said twice in the last week, these are my signings. Again, he keeps reiterating it. These are my signings. If these are your signings, mate, we're in trouble. We are going nowhere fast.
I think the argument of does Levy spend money for his managers, that argument doesn't exist. Because the last 3-4 seasons, Levy's proven he'll spend the money, right?
Yeah, sure.
So we can't blame Levy for that. It's a lie. The question then is, well, who hires the manager? Who hires these recruitment teams? And what?
I agree.
What parameters is a manager at Spurs allowed to take that 400? How much was it you said? 431 million pounds Andrew spent. I want to know: is the manager allowed to take that 431 million and sign 5 top-level players, or must it be 15? This is where the conflict is for me between Levy and the manager. Like, where is this bit coming from? Because I think we've said it before, Savva. That's the issue: quantity over quality. Like you just said, you mentioned Odebert, Bergvall, Archie Gray. That's one top player, as in game changer player.
But do you know what's
who
even
makes
more
that
worrying?
decision? Is that on the manager? Is that on the recruitment team, or is that on the board? Where does that decision come from? Because that is at the core of our problems. The tactics of defending is all on Ange. That is 100% on this manager.
But do you know what's even more worrying still? If we look at, by the way, if you hear the dog minute, I think my wife, I think my wife's about to walk in. She's definitely about to walk in the front door. So please ignore the dogs if you hear them barking. Oh wow! Oh, wow!
Just block them. Just block them. Don't even put it up.
I'm not. I'm screen. I'm just. I only bring it up to take the picture.
All right. Yeah. Don't give them the time of day, so.
Wow. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just. Hopefully, one of my mods has already blocked that person.
People like that. I'll tell you what kind of character that is that just said that to you, right? They're the ones that are so inside their soul fuming that we will write about this. They just can't handle the fact that they were so disastrously sucked in by the PR and the fake positivity that they couldn't just step out of their little world for 1 second and say, let me hear this alternative view. Why are they saying this? What is their reason for speaking like this? Where are they coming from? They're incapable. They're incapable of acknowledging it. No, forget even agreeing with us. Acknowledge we've got some points here. Just acknowledge that some of the things we're saying are fucking true, guys. That's why there's 900 of you watching this right now, because we're hitting home with some truths. You have to agree with all of it, but there's enough here to keep you here, and that's the point. That's the point.
Yeah, look, look. Just for if you've got 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes. The last thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to show the stats again in a minute for anyone that I'll go through them quickly for anybody that's missed them at the beginning. The more worrying thing for me, mate, is when I look at the market that we're shopping in now. Are we shopping in different shops than Fulham, Brentford, West Ham? Are all these clubs that don't raise anywhere near the funds that we have over the years from the stadium and player sales? We're going to buy Archie Grays. Brentford wanted Archie Gray, right?
Yeah.
We're going to buy Odebert from Burnley. That's the sort of signing I would expect Fulham to go and buy. So, are we shopping in different shops than these people?
These are easy deals to get done because the wages are low. These are low wage signings. Solanke low wages,
Sure.
Odebert low wages,
Sure.
Archie Gray low wages, Bergvall low wages, Veliz low wages, Brennan Johnson low wages. We're not going in and saying, right, that guy there is going to cost us 150, 180 grand a week. Because really good players are going to want to get paid for it. Kvaratskhelia isn't coming to Spurs for 50, 60, 70 grand a week. I doubt Eze is going to accept 60, 70 grand a week. He knows he can command a bigger salary. So it seems to me that it's managing the risk of turnover compared to wages, the turnover to wage ratio. Spurs want to keep it in that 40, 50% range. They're not prepared to go to 60, 70. So I think that factors in to where I take a little bit of blame off Ange and on the board, but Ange is accepting that. So if you're going to accept that, you need to own it because you've chosen this working environment. You've chosen to work under these conditions. You can't then moan if it goes wrong. And if you do, you've got to call it out. You've got to say something, Ange. But he's not, like you said, how many times? These are my signings. This is what I want. And it beggars belief that he's saying this because, I don't know, Sav, I think he's digging a big hole for himself.
I agree. He's got nowhere to go. If they aren't your signings, just don't say anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just don't say anything. But he's telling the world they are.
Less is more.
And then he's saying to people, "Oh, well, we've got to finish better." It's like, well, dude, you bought all these players, and 14 of this squad is now his. So more of the squad is his than what he inherited. And let's be fair, the ones that are still here that he inherited are Son, Romero, Porro, Udogie, Bentancur, Bassoon. Do you know what I mean?
Charleston.
Right. So all the ones that he plays. Guys, I do just really, really quickly. I just want to quickly go. I was going to rattle through this really quickly for any of you that missed it. We're going to do this really quick fire. This is why we did this show. Anybody that tells you that you are negative, anyone that tells you that you're not a real Spurs fan, just chuck the facts in their face when they talk about, when people like Ben Bowman do a video about our Spurs are genius and play genius ball and, oh, I get this many subscribers because I'm saying fluffy stuff. Here's the truth. Since the opening 10 games of last season, we've played 29 games. We've won 12 of those. We've lost 12 of those and we've drawn 5 of them. So we've won 12 from 29. That's not a good ratio for a club of our size. We've kept 3 clean sheets in that time. That is shocking. I would expect that from a team in relegation form. 26 games we have conceded goals in. In those 29 games, we've scored 50. But in those 29 games, we've conceded 53. We are -3 for the number of goals in the last 9 to 10 months. In those games, in the last 12 games, we've won 4 games, all against last season's bottom 4, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. That's who we're beating these days. Since the 10th of December 2023, we've beaten 1 top half side. That is Aston Villa. All of this talk about, well, when VDV and Romero play together. Well, when VDV and Romero play together for the last 10 games, we've averaged 2 goals a game against. 2 goals a game. Our form, the last 5 games of the season, the last 5 games we played, we'd be 13th. The last 10 games, 12th, 8th, 5th, 8th. Average that, 9th over 30 games. So all of this, look what he picked up and look where we are now compared to where he picked up. Where are we? We've spent 431 million euros. And in that same time frame, United have spent 60 million less. Arsenal have spent 120 million less. Villa have spent, 150 million less. And Man City have spent, 170, something like that, less than Spurs. Liverpool, 172 million. Guys, the facts are there. The stats are there. I'm not making them up. This is who we are, Stel. Stel, I've said 7th. I'm going for Spurs to finish 7th. Where have you got us down for? Just the last thing before we end the show.
I think Europe's really going to hurt us.
I agree.
I think Europe's going to really, really hurt us. And already we've lost Bentancur. I mean, what's the update with Bentancur? Is he out? Is he recovered? Or
I've not seen it, mate. I've not seen it. But that does mean that we're going to have one of Gray or Bergvall starting midfield against Everton.
I mean, Basuma's back, I guess, after his suspension, but that's nothing to write home about. He's not been great for ages. So, City will finish above us. Liverpool, Villa, Arsenal. That's 4. United, I think, will just do it. Brighton, I think, are going to be good. Yeah, 7th.
Yeah, 7th.
7th.
Yeah, and all of that. In all of that, you don't know what Chelsea are going to be. You never know what Chelsea are going to do. Look, Stel, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. By the way, yeah, today Spurs have been linked with, I believe his name is Martinelli from Fiorentina, an 18-year-old goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So more youth. Look, it is what it is. No, again, Eugene, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. He doesn't put us in a position to score 3 or 4 goals every game. It's not every game we play Leicester City. Yeah.
Eugene, you defend every single situation. You say the opposite to us. Every year we win nothing. We don't come close to it. What's your excuse? Right? We win nothing. We achieve nothing every year. At some point, you've got to realize there's a much bigger problem than just saying, the opposite to what we say.
Absolutely. All I'm going to end up and say is this. Look, I've just delivered facts. I've not been rude. I've not lied. I've not given my opinion. I've just delivered facts on Tottenham Hotspur. So when people want to point this out, I just don't know. I'm seeing people go on shows and talk about finishing second, and people saying we're in a title challenge and that we've got a better bench than Arsenal and stuff. I just don't know. Look, guys and girls, we're 10 subscribers away from 13,300. We didn't manage to get to 200 odd. I thought it was a bit ambitious. If 10 of you would subscribe before we go, please subscribe to Stel as well. That'd be absolutely amazing over there at Tottenham Away. Much love. Take care. Stel, you're streaming tonight. Yeah?
Yeah. I was about to say, you just had another quick super chat come in. Yeah, I'm live tonight, 9:30 p.m. UK time. If you want to come over and watch Tottenham Away, we're going to be going over the game and discussing similar stuff to what we've discussed tonight. But 9:30 tonight, Tottenham Away.
Yeah. And super chats, I was going to come to them last. Big up, first of all, Anthony Clark, who's become a YouTube member. Big up to you, Anthony. Really appreciate your support. Always good fun in the chat as well. So I hope you and your son are still watching and enjoying. Thank you so much, my man, even if you are a gooner. Big up to Chris Peters, who has said, Savva saying truth, a continuation of last season. Chris, as I said, nothing's changed for me to change my narrative from last season. If we'd gone and got Eze, a top midfielder, a top forward, and a top winger, I'm sitting here saying, you know what? Over to Ange, we should be finishing 3rd or 4th. But we're not, and we didn't make those signings. Big up to you, Chris. Appreciate that. Andy, ENG135, has become a YouTube member. Big up to you. I'm seeing this logo doing the rounds today, by the way, the Ange Postecoglou bending over instead of the cockerel. Yeah, I've seen that many times today. Big up to you, my man. Really appreciate that. And Faz, big up to you, bro. I said, did we not say a new manager should be given time? Sure. But the problem is, Faz, when all the facts are going that way, how much further that way do you keep going before you say this isn't good?
Sam, a quick question before we end it.
Yeah.
When Ange bent over and it's become a bit of an iconic first weekend of football image, what did you think? How did you interpret
that? Yeah, I'm not going to say, but being bent over, like just bending over for the club, for me, I don't know. What did you?
No, why do you think he reacted that way? Is what I'm asking. What do you think he was thinking?
Oh, sorry, I see what you mean. I don't know. Look, I think that like every other manager that's come here, I think he's come here with delusions of grandeur. I think he's come in and said the exact right things. They all have. Every manager that's come in has said the right things, and everyone wants to get behind them, and that's great. But the problem is, I think he's now realised, hang on, this isn't quite what I thought it was going to be. This is a bit tougher than I thought it was going to be. And I don't think he knows, as you said earlier, I don't think he's got the intelligence to change it. I don't think he ever looks at, like when you are playing Arsenal, I don't think he's got the intelligence to look and go, shit, Bukayo Saka's going to rip us a new one. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Van der Ven there and I'm going to drop him 10 yards. I don't think he's got that intelligence to do that. I think he's arrogant enough and thinks this style of play will just keep working if he keeps, will work if he keeps doing it. That's my opinion.
I've been in that situation. I think I know what when the way he slouched down, he stayed there for a little bit. I think that's him saying, "I can't do no more."
Yeah, I agree. I'll ask these questions
I,
still.
I honestly feel he felt, "I can't do no more." How's Richarlison missed that? I can't do anymore. Honestly,
Do
that's what
you
I think.
believe if I sat here right now and said the 20th of August, 2025, next year, 365 days away, do you truly believe this guy's our manager? You know what the club's like. Look, Stel, let's face it. We were finishing 10 minutes ago. Look, Stel, let's face it, right?
I think if we finish lower than where we did last season, and we have bad cup runs, I see him getting sacked.
I mean, but
because I don't trust the players he signed. I don't believe in the players he signed, Savva. I don't believe in the players he signed.
Take your compliment, Stel, from Donna. Take your compliment.
Thank you, Donna. God bless you.
I'll say this. All of a sudden, the game against Everton
is massive.
Is massive. It is, because Stel, our next games after that are Newcastle away, who are never easy to beat at St James's Park.
We're not winning that game. We're not winning that game.
Arsenal at home, I'll be honest, if we get a draw out of Arsenal, I will consider that a win. And then Brentford, who aren't easy. And then I think
home or away? Is Brentford home or away?
Brentford's at home.
I think we should win that.
But then we've got Man United away. And then we've got Brighton and West Ham. Mate, if he doesn't beat
Brighton this season, I think they're going to be a really good side. I think they've signed good players, and without Europe, I think Brighton this season could be a good team again.
Mate, I just find it interesting, right? If he doesn't listen, I think we will. By the way, before anyone, I think we are going to beat Everton, but I did say that about Leicester. If he doesn't get a win, I said 4-0. If he doesn't get a win against Everton, right?
Yeah, pressure's on.
The pressure then, Newcastle, Arsenal, Brentford, United. Could there be a world in which we go 6 games and only win one of them?
Of course there is.
If that happens, even if we beat Everton and don't win any of the next 4, suddenly you're 12, 10 points behind all of the pack already.
I've heard as well. Tonali comes back for Newcastle against Spurs. Tonali's back for that game as well, so he'll be wanting to.
They reckon he's been training like a demon as well. That's what I was reading the other day. They say that he's been excellent. But look, Stel,
Archie Gray's going to pocket him. It's okay.
I am going to leave it there. Look, I really do worry. I've said it all summer. Nothing has changed. I'm seeing Matt O'Reilly on the screen here. Apparently going to Brighton for £24 million. Matt O'Reilly's better than anything we've got in central midfield. We're not going after him. Sander Berg is going to Fulham for 25 million. At the moment, without a DM, I'd have him in our team. That's how bad I think it's been. Just quickly.
Do you know what? That's the one position I really can't believe we didn't rectify, Savva. Of all the positions, I really thought we were going to bring in, especially that we moved Højbjerg on as well. I thought that's the one position we're really going to do something. I can't believe we've neglected it like that. I'm shocked. I really am. Savva, even by Ange's kind of wishy-washy transfers, I thought Ange would have wanted that player there. That one kind of pin.
But he said over and over again, still, he don't believe in a 6. He wants 8s. That's going to be his undoing.
We didn't sign an 8 either.
Well, I mean, I don't even know what. I don't even look.
Who's the 8? Who's the 8 that he signed?
Just before we go, Donna said, "Mr. Stelios, you're looking handsome. Mr. Stelios, will I see you in the stadium this weekend? Mr. Stelios, I want to sit with you and watch the game. And Mr. Stelios, have you lost some weight?"
No, I just shaved my beard.
Just say, yeah, that's a good tactic. Guys, girls, I am going to leave it there. I do have to go out. Take care. Please get over and support Stel's show tonight. Donna, stop putting in super chats, but big up to you. Please like, please subscribe. As I'm trying to chase down 14,500. I might be biased. I truly believe I should be on 20 by now. Anyway, take care, everyone. Much love. And to the person that keeps trolling me, see you later. Bye. I've lost the button. Hang on. Bye.